I'd like to tell you about what you have taught me, and thereby something about you and your special gift for the world. I came here 2 years ago. For my teaching, I brought with me my anonymous feedback sheets. I asked you at the end of every class to say what was most confusing and what was most helpful and least helpful, and for any other comments. On the sheets, one comment kept coming up. Why are we learning this? Now, as most of us have found to our dismay with email, it's hard to discern tone just from written text without hearing a human voice speak it. And why are we learning this could be interpreted in at least 2 ways. I first took it as, what's the point of all this? You're teaching us all this abstract stuff that is of no use. And I started thinking, Philistines. These ideas are beautiful for their own sake. They are interesting just to know. Be grateful, swine, for the pearls I strew at your feet. It wasn't my most Zen moment, I know. But I want to give you an honest picture of how I reacted inside and how much I still had to learn. On the same sheets, you also often asked, how are Olin students different from students that you have taught elsewhere? That one was easy. At Olin, students don't care about ideas for their own sake. They care only about how to use them. But I slowly began to wonder whether I was imputing the wrong tone and interpretation to your question of why are we learning this? For there is another interpretation. Perhaps it came to me because I have small children. Many books on child raising advise you to interpret your child's frustrating acts in the best possible way. Thus, when the older sister knocks the younger sister to the ground, oh, I know, you were just trying to brush the fly off her back. Well, not really that far, which would be akin to having a mind so open that your brains fall out. But more like when the orange juice spills, instead of losing your temper, to think and say, oh, I know you were trying to learn something difficult and hard, pouring juice from the heavy carton. Next time, let me help you just a bit. And so that the time after that, you might be able to do it all by yourself. I hope I managed to respond that way at least 1 out of 10 times that the orange juice streams all over the carpet. This philosophy of interpretation also applies beyond children. Why are we learning this can also mean, how does this connect to the world? I really want to know, but I don't yet have the knowledge and experience to make the connections myself. Please help me so that I can appreciate and understand the ideas. With that interpretation, my teaching started changing. I began asking myself what I now call the Olin question. How does this idea connect to the world? I would look to the problems and mysteries of the world first in order to find the connections, for example, between dimensional analysis and the speed of tidal waves, between random walks and the need to wear clothes to stay warm, or between conservation laws and the migration distances of birds. You taught me to see the world with wider eyes. At night, thinking about the next day's class, I asked myself, how is this idea useful? What problems can I solve with it? What mysteries of the world does it explain? With Faust, you taught me that all theory is gray, but the golden tree of actual life springs ever green. And thus you changed my answer to the question of how are Olin students different? My answer now is, you have stayed curious. You still want to know how the world works, how it is put together, and how to apply what you're learning to improve it. And you have the courage to ask about it. A famous physicist once said, it is almost a miracle that modern teaching methods have not yet entirely strangled the holy curiosity of inquiry. For what this delicate little plant needs more than anything, besides stimulation, is freedom. You came to us with this curiosity. We, the faculty and staff, can take credit for just a few things, maybe. We noticed it and admitted you, and we did not damage it, and that maybe at times we helped this plant that Einstein valued so much to flourish. For we have all seen this holy plant thrive and grow in your time here. Cherish it, water it, and when you have children, pass it on its spirit to them. Enrich the lives of those around you as you have enriched ours. In a time of environmental, economic, and political crisis, it is the spirit that we need to make the world of your generation one of peace, freedom, and plenty.